Hello, everybody. I will introduce then the work did in the first group. So we are now at the moment talking about a smart tooth, and this tooth is a smart product as it includes some sensors inside it. And usually in the classical application, we can find in the state of the art before this smart tooth, these sensors were embedded on directly on the abdomen of the person who wants to record his health conditions. And what we will see in this presentation and today is the work related to, at least in the first part, to the business model and to the organization of the IP structure in both the traditional pharmaceuticals sector as well as the digital pharmaceutical sector. So I guess you did not see my picture, or maybe you did, I don't know. Anyway, we will move on. So I let my colleague continue with the smart tooth business model on the resource perspective.
So we will start the analysis of business model with the resource perspective. So the crucial value creation partners for our company would be, first of all, the AP manufacturers. In fact, these are not only our partners, they are also our customers and a valuable distribution channel at the same time. As we know, the smart tooth, they require compatibility with the IP, so it is very important to ensure that technological exchange is in place and well established. The next partners are diabetologists and dentists. So these doctors have to be well informed, first of all, about the product efficacy. And the diabetologists have to be convinced that they really have the benefit for the patients. And the dentists have to be well trained to ensure the tooth installation. Also, we have insurance companies as the core partners. It would be very important from the side that once the insurance companies can reimburse the smart tooth, it will be, of course, well attractive to the customers and valuable for them. From the key resources and core competencies, we have, first of all, our company possesses deep knowledge of the diabetes and relevance between diabetes and patient diets. We also conduct R&D, and we have to all the time track the result of the usage of the device. So the clinical experiment would also be really important, as well as existing distribution channels, which, as I have already mentioned, are first of all the AP manufacturers. And also we would mention the smartphone application as the other feature which requires availability for the market. And the core competencies are, first of all, the research ability in diabetes. As I already mentioned, it is our R&D department. We also should conduct education for the doctors, dentists, and sales staff to ensure that our products are well represented on the market, and also the capability to reach for medical approval in order to eliminate the entry borders. So now we can move to the market perspective.
Thank you. From market's perspective, we first have to identify the unique selling proposition that is differentiating smart tooth from established sensors measuring the blood glucose level. And the main difference here is that we measure or predict the blood glucose level much earlier, already when the patients are masticating the food. And this allows for an improved control of insulin injections and has on the long term a better health effect in particular for health illiterate patients that are not sticking too strict to their recommended diets. So we are releasing the patients from thinking about diabetes. That's actually very good, because like these patients are mostly very biased observers when they're measuring the blood glucose levels themselves. They're making mistakes, and they're, in particular, when they don't stick to their diets, they are hiding and and don't take the correct actions. And in particular, if SmartTooth can actually identify the actual dishes which the patient really took in. So if we can differentiate between a hamburger and a steak, we can give direct recommendations to the patients for improving their diets. The target group is the end. From a market access perspective, we have to identify the target groups. These are the diabetes patients as the end users, and as business partners we have the artificial pancreas suppliers, AP suppliers, and the dentists. The customer relationships, we can have the exchange with the physicians that are actually subscribing these tools to the patients. And we have a social media and direct interaction with the patients via our web app. And the sales channels, we have two different sales channels that are generating income. We have the direct sales of the products, and we have like a freemium app that is giving additional services to the end users and the patients. And then we look to the business models, and I hand over to Rudina. Thank you.
Okay, we will distinguish now the business model framework conditions between a traditional pharma from a digital pharma. For traditional pharma R&D subject, it involves empirical technologies, whereas in digital pharma, this involves complex technologies. So empirical technologies involve a particular drug formulation or substances for the treatment of diseases, while the complex technologies include systems for the treatment of diseases, wherein the system may involve different subsystems, features, parts like sensors, data processors, algorithms, where patients' personal eating patterns are used to improve the calculation of the required insulin for this particular case. The system may also include API that, together with the algorithms, enables the precise interpretation of the data coming from the SmartTooth. All this work together to perform certain tasks. And for competitive structure, for traditional pharma, the competitive environment is usually well known and homogeneous. That means it only involves pharma life science companies, not from other fields. Whereas for the digital pharma, the competitive environment is quite known and heterogeneous. It means the players are not only pharma life science companies, but also those software programmers, analytics suppliers, manufacturers, and platform suppliers. For the typical product or patent structure for the traditional pharma, usually one product is covered by one patent, or maybe a few patents which cover features related to the product. For the digital pharma, usually one product will have a lot of patents. So the patents don't just cover the medication, drug itself, but also the algorithms or other devices and features involved in the whole application. Yeah, so I turn over to my colleague.
Thank you. Here we're talking about IP strategies, generic IP strategies that can be applicable in traditional pharma and digital pharma based on arguments as regards to framework conditions and IP strategic implications. In traditional pharma, we can see that technology is more empirical and discrete. Because the new products are developed mostly independent from previous developments. And because of that, the marketability of products is uncertain and unclear until some kinds of medical approvals gain. In comparison, in digital pharmacy, the technology is more cumulative and complex, which is dependent on previous developments, and some kinds of incremental developments happens. Because of that, if medical approvals or other conditions are not met, there is a chance of shifting the strategy for the company to apply it in another industry or another markets. Not industry, in other markets. Regarding IP strategy implications, due to having isolated products and technologies in hand, company can have large portfolios of patents, and they can patent as much as possible, and making market barriers for their competitors. Because of that, it seems that fortress monopoly applies for traditional pharmaceutical companies. But in digital pharma, companies are looking for protecting and patenting user relevant features and customer benefits that they can generate. So they have more strategic patents. Because of that, it seems that value added and monopoly is more applicable in digital pharma. Also, we had some discussions in our group that it seems from some kind of scenarios and capability of standard setting of smart tools, maybe hub monopoly is somehow relevant, but value-added strategy rules. Also, we had in customer relationship scenarios kind of ingredient marketing by embedding smart tools in artificial pancreas. And these two businesses had collaborations regarding development and also sales and distribution, which lead us to monopoly in a box, which seems relevant but not ruling.
Thank you, Anaïta. So as Anaïta just introduced the IP strategic implementation in the traditional pharma compared to the digital pharma are distinctive. In the traditional pharma, you are more on a defensive strategy. So you have time to market, to observe, to fill your portfolio in early stage, and you have to create market barriers to the competitors, thanks sometimes to keeping a secret part of the work built around the solution. And of course, you will try to sue and to prevent your product from any infringement they could have linked to newcomers or just a solution that are alternative to yours. And in comparison, we are in a strategy in digital pharma where we are close to the customer benefit, and so our strategy is also to abstract competitors, but we are fixing the barrier on each component of our solution, and we have to educate our users. So we have to rapidly create documentation and protection around our tooth solution, smart tooth solution. And this protection implies a lot of relevant features development. The benefits to be generated by the strategy of the traditional pharma, I most of the time protection of return on innovation, because thanks to the fence we have built, we are able to keep secret the result, and thanks to that we are going to have a price premium for most of the good scenarios. And avoiding infringement, also you have chance to not have a lot of cost, and you bring, thanks to a high cost on the product, a real benefit on its own. And of course, the benefit of creating market barriers is that you have a way to keep sustainability in your business and to go on later on. On the digital pharma, the costs are different because thanks to the way that we are rapidly developing the product, it's not a long process to develop the product. We have supply chain cost reduction, and our purpose is more based on the way that the business itself it's developed. So we align somewhere the portfolio directly to the business strategy, and thanks to that we are closer to a flexible way, to a flexible approach to the market. And the single IP assets are not hidden to the others. They are more a way to cross-licensing solution and to make the solution evolve through the time to increase the quality of the product itself. I let now Audrey talk about what we deduced about the organization structure.
Thank you, Aurélie. So regarding the organization of traditional pharma, we are more in a close alignment of R&D and IP department with integration within the innovation process, and also legal administrative orientation. And regarding digital pharma, we are more in an organization of close alignment of IP with product management and marketing through IP committee. And here we are more in a legal and administrative orientation of the IP department. So for the typical organizational structure of traditional pharma, we are more in a protection center That means a comprehensive patent protection of customer and competition relevant technology and product features. It's more know-how protection. And whereas for digital pharma and our product, the Smarties, we are more in an optimized cost-benefit ratio of the IP portfolio with an efficient protection. I let now Rodrigo present you the IP strategy development deeper.
Thank you. Talk about the comparison between traditional pharmaceutic and digital pharmaceutic. In this organization structure, they base strategic in the traditional pharma. They have industry-wide IP strategy and on early protection of a new substance, because these industries have the fourth monopoly in this industry. The system is the one patent or one product. This situation is very different of digital pharma. They organize based on a protection center. The typical process user in traditional pharma is IP management and research development related digital pharma. In this company is very important where his partner and dentist relate, and his business model is very important. The innovation in marketing and research develop department. In this industry, it's very complex, the investigation, and it's very complex. Tobias now talk about the application.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Thank you. Yeah, as we already was hearing from Rodrigo regarding the IP strategy, is also defining a little bit the decision when we want to apply for patents. And as we can see here in the traditional pharma, it's more, let's say, budget driven when we want to apply for patents. And we serve thereby, our own department, the IP department and the R&D department, where when we see thereby on the digital pharma side, it's already driven by the IP strategy, that we are more focused on making exclusive our customer benefits, and thereby this already influenced and also who we have to serve in this way, which are the people in the process that are use this information. And we have to go here from the product to the marketing, our own department to R&D, let's say in a broader way. When we then see the competition monitoring, let's say the IP risk assessment, there's also a really clear difference between the traditional view on a pharma industry or digital pharma. And only as an example that we can see it here in a traditional pharma industry, it would be more like looking for all the products, skipping through ingredients and effects of products. And it's more simple to evaluate thereby the IP infringement risk. And we interact thereby with our own IP department and of course with the product department regarding the freedom of operate. Regarding then the digital pharma, it's much more complex. We have to deal with a lot of more, which are quite broader field of products, applications, and only already because of the digitalization, we have it's much more complicated to grab the IP risk management or the IP risk assessment hereby. And we have to send this information thereby to the product management, to the marketing, salesman, to the sales department, and to our own departments thereby. And yeah, that's so far everything from the first group. Thank you.